I played Super Smash Bros. Melee for 100 hours because I want to develop as a competitive fighting game player and a streamer. The challenge started in the BC days, or the before. During this week, I was able to get a third-party controller, all of the small stuff it took to basically run the game. I had a couple of nights on Slippy and they kind of went sideways.
Type of damage. Oops, did it again. Need to watch some hack. Okay, how am I gonna get around this? I'm gonna stop letting him read this.
In order to get 100 hours finished, I needed to do about 80 hours of Melee practice. I broke that down to about 2.5 to 3 hours of practice 5 times a week. I was practicing Super Smash Bros. Melee in first player mode. That means I'm playing through classic mode in order to get characters and doing event matches and all types of silliness.
Need to lock in. Oof, I have 80 more to go. I'm at 160 damage. Let's try this again.
One of the boss twists came through on New Year's Eve and he taught me how to install Uncle Punch. Uncle Punch is a mod that allows people to play Super Smash Bros. Melee to practice for competitive play. It breaks the event matches down into different scenarios that you're gonna need in order to get better at Super Smash Bros. Choosing your main in a fighting game is a lot like choosing a starter Pokemon. You're gonna use this character in battle through the highs and through the lows. So I picked up Link because I main Link in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. That's when I realized that Link is absolute basura. A lot of the things that I've used inside of his kit in Ultimate were not inside of his kit in Melee.
Well done!
So I went with my number 2.
Next, I'd like you to meet Torchic.
I choose Torchic.
The next thing that I did was establish a serious training schedule. When I'm training my body, I use a method and framework that I developed when I was training in Shanghai. I look at my overall goal and I break it down into sub-skills. Then I practice each of these sub-skills for 15 minutes a day for 30 days or less. For Super Smash Bros., it broke down like this. I got a 3-hour training session. Hour 1, I'm working on my movement. In the beginning, that meant working on basic movement for the first 15 minutes. Then I worked on wave dashing for the second 15 minutes, L canceling for the third 15 minutes, and ledge dashing for the last 15 minutes. After that, I would go into my offensive and defensive practice. As the challenge progressed, what I spent that time doing changed as my skills progressed. During the 3rd hour, I would focus on getting tournament ready by boxing, jumping on Slippy, and having an hour-long training session inside of Unranked. I noticed the change in my skill immediately, and it made me super excited to continue to practice.
I don't learn from my mistakes. Yahoo!
Even though I was able to perform the tech inside of Uncle Punch, I was not able to implement it all in the match. So going into the 2nd week, my big focus was what I needed to do to be able to use the tech that I was learning more efficiently. After doing some reflecting on how I felt during a match, I noticed that I was just kind of running around out there. So I took an opportunity and I jumped back online and I looked at another 3rd chair video in order to learn some advanced Dr. Mario tech. It exposed me to different options I could take as well as difficult button patterns. For example, I learned how to do a triple aerial with Dr. Mario. That's when you throw 3 aerials before you hit the ground. The second stage of this is looking at how he implemented inside of the video and then thinking about how I could implement it in the match. Doing all of this practice helped increase my ability to play the game overall. So when I'm playing Dr. Mario on Unranked, I'm able to do more things, go for more edge guards, and be more confident because I spent more time practicing the tech. Pills. 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 Even though I was able to perform the tech better inside of Uncle Punch, when I got into the game, it felt like there were center blocks on my feet. In a lot of defensive and disadvantaged situations, I was panicking because I wasn't completely sure what to do. That's when I got the idea to look up a Dr. Mario flowchart. I noticed that there weren't a lot of tutorials or flowcharts on how to play Dr. Mario, so I wanted to create one of my own. That's why I jumped online and I asked AI to make me a Dr. Mario flowchart. I actually liked what came out. After that, I started looking for a way to implement the knowledge that I was getting better. In order to do this, I started facing level 7 CPUs in order to practice my advanced movement patterns as well as my punish patterns. Marth is trying to land on you as Dr. Mario. Whoa. Fair puts him out of shield grab range. I'm down to my last week before the day of the tournament. I had heard
Game day, you never want to bust no nut on the week of game day. The whole week!
Cody Schwab talk about how important punish game was.
For me, the easiest way to improve from there is by getting your punish game to be like top level.
So, in order to get ready for the tournament, I locked in on my punish game. To do this, I jumped on YouTube and I compiled a playlist of the top Dr. Mario players inside of the best brackets in the world. And then I analyzed this footage. 1, to look at the punishes they were going for. 2, to find the buttons that they used that I wasn't using. And 3, to listen to the commentators. Because the best place to get knowledge on Dr. Mario is from the commentators in the Super Smash Bros. Set.
Also, Doc is invincible.
Doc is invincible during up B?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, damn.
It's really just fair is the move versus Doc. It is so hard for Doc to get around it.
I think he should approach with waveland back airs because it's a really good way to get inside Sheik's space.
One huge piece of advice that I heard during Leffen versus Shroomed at Big House 4 was,
and he's got to get something started and quick. He's got to get in, but not overextend.
When I started to use this philosophy and think about it in matches, it helped me think about what I wanted to do in different situations and how I could change my first impulse from continue to push your advantage to what is a way to keep and maintain your advantage and go for the kill a little bit later. So it's the night before the tournament and all in the house, not a creature was stirring except Dun Beezy, who had realized that he had messed up. I had never stopped and looked for the event that I was quote unquote preparing for. So I jumped inside of Discord and I messaged some people from the scene and they let me know that there was a smaller series going on and it was going to be hosted by Kush Messiah. So I headed it down to his crib and it was on. There are 2 different games getting ran today, Project Plus and during friendlies, the stick on my controller said,
Captain, my captain.
And it fell off and it was never the same. and one of the homies, Corduroy, he let me have his
Old reliable.
substitute controller. So I was able to finish out the bracket and have a controller to take home. When I got that first party controller in my hand, I started calling these times the AC days because these are the true I took a long time and I thought about how to describe the matches that I had during this tournament. And I settled on the phrase, I got sweated out of my drawers.
Wait, first of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Here are some statistics so everyone can quantify how much you gotta get sweated to lose your drawers. There is a 7-person pool in order to get into the bracket. You gotta get in the top 4 to make it. I placed 7th with a set record of 0-6.
But wait, there's more.
Of those 6 sets, I lost 5 of them. 0-2.
But wait, there's more.
The average length of those 5 sets was 59.7 seconds.
You got knocked the fuck out.
I spent 100 hours playing Melee. I can't L cancel, can't wave dash, I can't ledge dash, and I lost every single set in every single tournament that I went to.
That's right. Cry.
The first step was looking for the bright side. Something I like to do when I get sad in my day-to-day life is I think about this phrase. Every single cloud has a silver lining. Find it. So as I was making the video, I took a step back and I reflected on all of the growth I had and all of the experiences that I'm gonna take with me throughout life. The first big one was just L cancel. When I started this whole journey, I was reluctant to L canceling and all of the wave dash shenanigans. Well, when I started 15 minutes a day and I just started doing it 15 minutes a day, I realized how quickly I learned it, and I noticed how many more levels of tech there really were. So it wasn't as hard as I thought it was, and I had much farther to go. So I wanted to take that same spirit to every single challenge in my life. Whenever I have something and it's kind of like some tech, if it's in another game or even if it's something at work, just learn it like it's L canceling. And I really liked earnestly putting my energy towards all of the crazy stuff that I said I was going to do during the challenge, because it forced me to think about what it was going to take to really do something like make the top 100 of Melee or beat Wizrobe or hit my social media goals. I want to say thank you, Melee. Thank you every person who competed with me. Thank you everyone who showed me love and showed me hospitality on the way. And thank you everyone who stopped to teach me something about the game and helped me get better at life. Until next